Are we set to lose Moises Caicedo to Saudi Arabia? My lord, we have an explosion of news and big updates to get through this afternoon, my friends. So you know what to do already, man. Show us some love with that like button, sit back, relax, and let's dissect today's reports. Let's get the good news out the way first, and that is Romeo Lavia is taking part in first team training sessions again, which is coming at a pretty helpful time. Now, let's not forget that when Lavia broke down, it was a minor breakdown, and it was reported that Wesley Fofana's was a lot worse compared to Lavia's. So there was always a big possibility that he was going to come back before the season ended. But don't get your hopes up about seeing Lavia tomorrow evening against Legia Warsaw. There's no need to rush him back. But he may be in contention to take part against Fulham this weekend, which is the key one right now. Now, for myself, I want to be super delicate with Romeo Lavia. I never gave up on this kid. I know a lot of guys in the fan base like Nini. I'm just sick and tired of reading more about this guy being on the injury table and being out of the team compared to his performances on the field. I get that. But, bro, let's not forget that when we first signed Lavia, we signed the kid when he was already injured, which sums up the belief we have in him long term, his quality, and the gamble we took, because things could have got a lot worse for him. Now, for myself, he is in no place to be starting games right now. Let's see if he can start one or two near the end game of this season. But in the meantime, if he can maybe get a few like 15, 20-minute cameos in the next few games, that's something helpful at least. But in the back of my mind, I don't want to put too much stress and pressure on him. I think Maresca has been very good this season in terms of controlling the health of his players. The fact that Reece James has played quite a lot of games and hasn't broken down for a while, and like over 18 games now, that is a promising sign, because, you know, there's more to come from these guys. They're on long-term deals, and we need them for next season as well, and we can't forget that. So it's great that Lavia's back. Hopefully, fingers crossed, he can maintain his fitness until the end of this season, because honestly, just to end this point, if we had a fully fit Romeo Lavia throughout the season, I think we might have secured maybe like an additional 2-3 points, simply based on the fact that tactically, this was the option that Maresca would love to turn to. Just solidifying that midfield, especially during those endpoints in games. So how do you guys feel about this? Are you optimistic, or are you still feeling a bit pessimistic based on his injury history? Let us know below. And now we discuss this afternoon's massive story that was first broken by The Telegraph, who happens to be a reputable newspaper in the UK. It's not some like fake random website. And they report that Al-Nassr are interested in signing Moises Caicedo. He is part of their shortlist. And if you guys remember some of the moves that Al-Nassr were attempting to make during the end of the January window, big moves for Leao, massive moves for Matoma, which got rejected in the end. They have the funds, they have the money. And after shocking Europe by signing John Duran for the fee they did, but just the fact that they were able to sign one of the exciting forwards in Europe tells you that you can't take their threat too lightly, because they can sign players as long as players say yes to them. So this is a pretty interesting story, in my opinion. Of course, Moises has 6 years left on his current deal. He's earning around 150k a week. We know that we offer these incentivized related, performance related contracts. He can earn more in the future, but at the same time, you know, Al-Nassr could easily double, triple, and maybe if it came down to it, could they even quadruple this guy's salary, because they'd be signing one of the premium young midfield players in Europe right now, and they have the funds to match their ambitions. They're not afraid to attempt the impossible. They don't mind hearing a no. It's those funds they offer which have made a lot of players have second thoughts, have second doubts. I mean, even Victor Osimhen, after winning the Scudetto with Napoli, it was reported that he even came close to actually signing for, I think, Al-Nassr or Al-Hilal at the time, and they were going to offer this guy incredible amounts of money. In the end, the move never materialized. But, you know, in times we're living in right now, going to a country like that where you're earning tax-free money, I mean, that's something that most people won't be ignoring just like that. Another worrying thing too is, if our season doesn't end how we plan it to, Would our owners even say no to a massive bid from Al-Nassr for Caicedo? If Al-Nassr say, you know what, Bismillah, say less, 150M, boom, what are you saying right now? Are our owners going to just ignore that just like that? I'm not too sure. They might be scheming. They might be formulating plans. They might think to themselves, actually, we got Lavia. We just signed a Sugo. We got Andre Santos. You know, selling Moises Caicedo could allow us to invest in other areas of the team. Would like to think these guys aren't that crazy or stupid, considering just how much we put into this deal to even bring Moises here to begin with, dramatically overpaying to sign him. And even though his value at the time when we signed him for was way too inflated, it was needed because this season he's proved to be one of the best holding mids in Europe. And when you have a player of that stature and ability, this is like a foundational player, yeah? This is a foundational piece for years to come in your team. And if you turn towards the market, you don't easily replace those foundational talents. There's not 10 Moises Caicedos out there, yeah? And sometimes when you have plans to win and you have ambitions, yeah, it means that you need to have access to some of the best players that the world can offer to help you get there. That's how the game works. Still, we have to see if more comes from this because, of course, he is part of their shortlist. We know that they're looking to really invest in their league and just, you know, boost the commercial aspects, the fan aspects, all those individual aspects. And you know what? Hypothetically, and, you know, you can insert whatever doomsday scenario you have in your head. If we flop CL, I said CL, Conference League, I'm getting carried away. If we flop the Premier League, if we flop flipping getting CL football as well, you know, does Caicedo think to himself, you know what, like I'm kind of falling out of love with this game. Maybe I'm going to earn my retirement money at 23 years old. I'll sign this 4-year deal. I'll probably be out there after 2 years. And in 2 years, I've made generational wealth and I'm coming back to Europe with every club in the world looking to sign me. Like, these are the type of situations agents now are telling their clients, and they're not scoffing at these types of offers like what players would used to do maybe 15 or 20 years ago. The landscape is different. So I'm not trying to like fearmonger or sensationalize stuff. Of course, I just respect what Al-Nassr and Saudi football is doing right now. I think we're seeing that with our own 2 eyes. We can't just dismiss that based on whatever reasons. Outside all of that, I'd be incredibly surprised, yeah. I feel like they would have to pay us a premium on top of a premium. And I'm talking like 200 mil, Neymar, Mbappe style money if they wanted to sign Moises. But yeah, let's see if more reports come out from this. Now let's discuss the predicted lineup for tomorrow's game against Legia Warsaw. Now, if there's one constant thing that we can never worry about, that is us underperforming in the Conference League. Yeah, everything around us can be turned into ish. It can be going downhill, but you will never see that in the Conference League. And I think one thing that I think we're all expecting is a lot of rotation tomorrow. I think with Fulham coming up and with PL games getting fewer and fewer between them, we have to take that with incredible importance. So I want to see a lot of rotation to keep things real with you. Now, in first team training, we've seen a few academy stars training with the first team. They include 16-year-old midfield player Reggie Walsh, Landon Emanalo, Ragzaki, Antwi, etc., etc. So hopefully some of these youths can get maybe 1 or 2 appearances between them, get a few minutes under their belt. I'd like to see something like that. So based on all of this context, this is the lineup I'm going for. Up front, I've gone for Miyuka. In behind him, Tyreek George on the left and Kunku in behind, and I've gone for Jadon Sancho down that right-hand side. A midfield of Dewsbury Hall and Reece James, and a defense of Gusto, Badia, Tosin, Achimpong, and Jorgensen in goal. Now, the player that I'm most looking forward to seeing again is George Achimpong. Just seeing him ooze his natural footballing class against Legia. That was the highlight of that first leg game, in my opinion. And it's a reminder that when you have talents of this level, we have to believe in them. We have to create those roadmaps and pathways into that first team. You know, we're so obsessed with looking abroad, turning to other clubs to sign their talents. But then I always think to myself, if an Achimpong was at Bournemouth right now, do you think he'd have 5 games under his belt? If he was in Boca Juniors, would he not be doing madness in their first team right now? Would he be on the bench? Would he be in their academy? Absolutely not. So why is the principle different for our top academy graduates. Hopefully, Action Point will get even more game time from next season. Defense kind of speaks for itself. I think Gusto will be inverting from the left-hand side. Hopefully not inverting. Hopefully he's just playing more of a natural fullback role because, it's hard for the guy. And I can't be mad against him for that. It's just hard for him. Midfield speaks for itself. I think the lack of intensity in the Conference League is really just allowing Reece James to kind of treat these games as like training games or even pre-season games to really just like build his match fitness confidence. And Dewsbury Hall, this is his tournament, right? But hopefully he can, have a good game at least, I guess. I don't know what to say about that, really. And up front, I want to see Miyuka playing. I want to see a more natural forward. I don't want to see Nkunku being left out there to just be discarded and forgotten. When he's not even consistently showcasing great striker play in the Conference League, what does it say about him not fitting that position, especially with what Maresca wants from the forwards? He doesn't even know how to properly move in terms of supporting his teammates and then spearheading attacks. I really feel for this guy. Really unfortunate timing for him. But tomorrow he has to play as that 10. And I think the only thing that's frustrated me is that times when Cole Palmer could be rested or isn't needed, why has Maresca never, ever felt to use Nkunku as that backup, that number 2 to a Cole Palmer? When he was playing that way for Leipzig all these years, I just don't see the excuses around that one. And obviously, my guys, let's hope that Tyree George can maybe get on the score sheet again. Nice little moment for him to get his first Chelsea goal in that first leg. And Jadon Sancho, I'm guessing this is the game he starts because that was probably the main reason as to why he was even on the bench to begin with. So that's my predicted lineup, my friends. Let us know what yours is in the comments. Do you expect to see more youth representation? Do you think we'll see less? Tell us how you're feeling. Now, moving on to the final 2 stories, Joao Felix continues to enchant Benfica, with the latest reports in Portugal suggesting that Benfica, under Rui Costa's orders, are trying to engineer a loan move in time for this summer's Club World Cup to bring their star boy back to their football club. Now, they've tried on like 2 separate occasions. It was turned down, but after the reality of how Felix's Milan season is going right now, I think his career at the highest level is on pause. It's not over. It's on pause though. And realistically, he should have made this decision maybe 2 years ago after he left us on loan. He should have gone down a level first to find himself, reclaim his footballing instincts, because he's a maverick. This is a guy that requires having confidence behind his game. The more good games he plays, showcasing the best of his football, that's how he can grow. And that's how he can be true to himself as a football player. When you're inconsistently used, when you're used like as a left winger at times and in these weird positions, and when you've not really gained the confidence of any manager now for the last 3 years, even though his Barca stint was decent, he scored a few goals there, but they didn't obviously materialize any moves. You need to think about just playing week in, week out. It was a mistake not to go to Aston Villa. I don't know why he didn't pick them. But I think Benfica, it probably is the best home for him now to go back there, keep on playing. And realistically, if he smashes it there, which he should be doing, going back to Benfica with all this experience years later, this could set him up for the following season. And I'm sure a lot of clubs will be showing interest again. Hopefully, things work out for him. You guys, if you watch me for a long time, you know that I've always loved Joao Felix. My thoughts on him are different now because, I update my opinions and my iOS based on the times we're in. I'm not going to keep holding on to the idea of players when that idea is not the reality anymore. But obviously I got a soft spot for him and I want him to do well. And I think Benfica could make sense because realistically, man, no one's paying us 45, 50 mil for Felix. It's only going to be loans. So hopefully at least Benfica can pay us like 5 mil up front, cover all his wages, and then we try and see what we do with this guy in the 26-27 season. And for the final report, we discussed Renato Veiga because it seems like Juventus may in fact not have completely turned their noses to the idea of trying to sign Veiga at the end of the season, with Italian reports today suggesting that Juventus will look to negotiate a loan extension which allows Veiga to take part in this year's Club World Cup. Once the Club World Cup ends, then there's an opening to renegotiate what to do with him. Now, originally, when we allowed Veiga to go to Juventus on loan, there was an option to buy at 33 mil euros with bonuses on top. Now, Juve paid us around 5 mil and covered his wages, which is a pretty substantial loan fee, to keep it real. But the report I was reading today suggests that we want around 50 mil. Now, it mentions that Maresca really did not want to lose Veiga, which is true. That was the reality. He really loves the player, and hence why if we were to sell him, he'd be sold at a premium now. Now, Juventus kind of want to hold on to Veiga a little bit more because they're lacking defensively, but they're hoping that once the Club World Cup ends, there'll be more clarity now in their future. Hopefully they've sold a few talents to raise funds. Hopefully they would have learned if they've secured Champions League football, which is the big one. If they secure CL football, it means that their ambitions are up again and they can kind of keep on to players and reinvest in the summer as well. And hopefully they can earn some tournament money participating in the Club World Cup. So it could be a win-win situation for everyone. But at the same time, I feel like maybe there is a little truth in this article, because how desperate are we to sell Veiga? From a fan perspective, we're assuming that, right? Because we want to sign other defenders. We've signed Sarr. We have all this other talent here. Where does Veiga necessarily fit anymore? But at the same time, if the coach really likes him, maybe we'd only sell him for like premium fees, because he had a lot of interest from tons of Prem clubs, Dortmund, and clubs across Europe. So he'll be a very popular player. So it is pretty helpful that in his last few games, his performances have been decent. You know, he's playing in the heart of Igor Tudor's Juventus back three. You know, he's spraying passes, finding their wing backs, and really just helping them progress out from the back. I think the back three protects his defensive instincts. I still don't think he's like a top tier defender just yet. I think for his frame and size, can be a little bit clumsy in terms of giving away too many fouls, his footwork at times, just little details. But this is why I think even if we still keep Veiga, I think another loan move needs to be secured for next season regardless. If he's not being sold, I still don't think he's good enough for the squad. Another loan move. I think this is a player that you just hold on to for a little bit longer and you assess him in like 2-3 years ideally. I've always said that because there's a lot of interesting things around Veiga. So that's pretty much me today, my guys. Lots of videos been dropped, of course. Show support for my new video format that I've released. You'll see it in the card above. Catch today's other big news reports on Liam Delap, and I will see you guys tomorrow on match day. Have a good day.